Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in wa ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, it's a great pleasure to be here and to be talking to you this evening about what I have titled 7 Keys to Success. Yesterday I was at the IIUM and someone asked me, why 7 keys to success? So I said, because I got stuck at 7. If I had thought of 8 keys, then it would be 8 keys to success. So 7 is not some kind of magical number or something like this. It's any number of keys to success. So we'll launch off straight into what these are, and then I am hoping to be able to answer at least some of the questions that you ask me. And as the brother said, we request you to keep the questions to the topic, and so that we can finish by tomorrow morning at least, inshallah. We'll quickly run down the list of these keys to success, and then we'll take each of these in more detail. As it says on the list, I don't usually like to read lists, but just for the heck of it. Number 1 is, without power, you're going nowhere, so you need to connect to the power. Number 2 is, eliminate the noise. Number 3 is, focus on what you can personally control or influence. Number 4, analyze objectively and face the brutal facts. Number 5, relentlessly measure results, first your own. And do remember that all these words are weighed and measured and put there very deliberately. So when I'm saying brutal facts and relentlessly measure, I mean exactly that. I do not mean anything other than that. Number 6, empower people. The doorman is also people. And the last one is, challenge yourself and don't worry about who gets the credit. So these are the 7 keys to success. Is this clear to you? Yes? All right, then I think we can go home, because the saying there in the red box is not one of my own, but something I read somewhere and I thought it was very nice, so I'm sharing it with you. I have no idea who said it, because it didn't say where I read who said it. But it's a very interesting thing. It says that everything that is faced cannot be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it is faced. And therefore, I think it's very important for us to lead lives that are completely honest with ourselves. And when I'm saying honesty, I don't mean, thou shalt not pick thy brother's pocket. Not that kind of honesty. I mean, that obviously you don't do that. But I'm saying honesty about looking at your own life, and especially looking at what we call our problems in life, and facing them squarely and saying, well, here is this problem, and what do I need to do about this? And not hedge around it and try to export the blame onto somebody else and saying, well, my problem is because of this one or that one. So let's look at each of these in some more detail. The number 1 of these is, connect to the power. And the power is the Creator who made you and me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So who is Allah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'll give you a couple of examples. There's a piece out of what has come to be known as my bird khutbah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who made a bird which is about that big, which is called the Bar-Tailed Godwit. Now this is obviously this bird was named by an Englishman, because no one in the world can name things bar-tailed godwits except Englishmen. So, and obviously it's a good thing that birds don't understand English, because I think that bird would be very seriously offended to be called a bar-tailed godwit. I mean, how many of you would like to be called a bar-tailed godwit, for God's sake? I mean, you know. So anyway, this bird is called a bar-tailed godwit. It's about that big, the size of a snipe. In the good old days of snipe hunting, when I was a child, when you told people the size of a snipe, they knew what you were talking about. Today, I don't know how many of my young friends here know what is a snipe. These are among the many things that your generation does not know, apart from kerosene stoves which smoked and so forth. So anyway, now the Bar-Tailed Godwit. Now, why am I talking to you about Bar-Tailed Godwits? Because it's an amazing bird. The Bar-Tailed Godwit migrates, it takes off in Alaska and flies all the way down to New Zealand. Now, picture the globe. It takes off here and goes right down like that. 11,000 kilometers. It flies in 9 days and nights, continuously, without food, without water, without sleep. And the Bar-Tailed Godwit is that big, and the reason I said it's that big is because it's not an albatross with a 12-foot wingspan, it's not coasting on thermals, it's flapping its wings. What does it mean? I want you to think about this. What is the meaning of saying it flies 11,000 kilometers in 9 days and nights? What does it mean? It means the sun rises, the sun sets, the sun rises, the sun sets, the sun rises, the sun sets, the bird is flying. It means there is a snowstorm and the bird is flying. It means there is a rainstorm and the bird is flying. It takes off and it goes. No food, no water, no sleep. 9 days, 9 nights. Who is Allah? Allah is the one who created this bird. The question I want you to ask yourself is, why? Why create a bird? Make this bird live in Alaska and then decree that in the winter it must fly 11,000 miles down to New Zealand. If it was a matter of getting out of the cold, you don't need to travel 11,000 miles to get out of the cold. All you need to come down to Florida and you've got all the heat you want. Why 11,000 miles? Why New Zealand? Why 9 days and 9 nights without sleep? They researched and they found they know what happens, but they don't know how it happens. They found that half the brain sleeps and half the brain is awake while the bird is in flight. They haven't the foggiest how that happens. But they've come to the point now, they've discovered that yes, this happens. Half the brain sleeps and half the brain is awake. Ask yourself why. What is the need to create such a creature and then do this for this creature? Second one, another bird. And this one is called the Bar-Headed Goose. There's something about Englishmen and bars. This is called the Bar-Headed Goose. Now, what about the Bar-Headed Goose? What about the Bar-Headed Goose is that if you are flying from Malaysia to Australia, for example, and when your plane is cruising at an elevation of 32,000 or 33,000 feet, which is where the transcontinental jetliners cruise, and you look out of your window and you see a goose, you are not drunk, you are not dreaming, you have actually seen a goose. I hope that does not happen to you, because you don't want to be seeing a goose out of your plane window at 33,000 feet, because that's not good news. If it gets sucked into your engine, then you become history. The bar-headed goose is the highest flying creature on earth. They take off and they go to 33,000 feet for exactly the same reason why jetliners fly at that speed, because they want to hit the jet stream current, which is a current of air that travels at a speed of 1,000 miles a day. And why do they want to hit that current? Because it takes you places. You can fly long distances without much effort if you are in that current of air. Except that there is a problem with being up there. You know what that problem is? The problem is the temperature there is minus 59 degrees Celsius. Now take the same bar-headed goose and perform the halal, say Bismillah Allahu Akbar, and stick it in your fridge, in the freezer at minus 4, and it freezes. And the same bar-headed goose at 33,000 feet is flying alive and well at a temperature of minus 59 degrees Celsius. Ask, what? What did you ask? Hello? Why? Why? What is the need for the creator of the universe to create this bird and decree that it must fly and migrate once again from the Arctic Circle down to India, down to Africa, in this way of hitting the jet stream current where the oxygen is next to nothing and where the temperature is minus 59 degrees Celsius? Why? Another amazing thing they discovered about the bar-headed goose is that its metabolism is best at low oxygen levels. Can you imagine? I mean, just think about this. It breeds best when there is no oxygen. If you are still not impressed with your creator and my creator, let me tell you one more story. And this is about a very small bird. This bird is called the Ruby-Throated Hummingbird. And I've actually seen these birds. I've seen all of these, but I've seen these Ruby-Throated Hummingbirds in their natural environment, because in a previous incarnation I used to live in South America and Guyana, and I've seen them in the Amazonian rainforest. The first time I saw one of them, I thought it was a moth, because it was so small and it was beating its wings so rapidly. It has a wing beat of 1,000 RPM. 1,000 revolutions per minute. So it goes buzz. It's the only bird which can fly backwards. It has a long beak, and it inserts it in the flower to suck the nectar and flies backwards. It's like a helicopter. It goes this way, anyway. How big is this bird? The biggest, the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the Ruby-Throated Hummingbird, weighs 4 grams. That is 1 gram less than 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon is 5 grams. Now, why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because, once again, the Ruby-Throated Hummingbird lives in South America, in the Amazonian rainforest, which begin around Chile and further south. And this one migrates north to North America. Part of that journey is straight across the Gulf of Mexico, a distance of 600 miles. I want you to again visualize this. This little thing that big, is flying 600 miles across the open ocean. It takes a period of 26 hours. I challenge you, those of you who think you are fit, walk, run, crawl, 600 miles in 26 hours and I'll give you $1 million per